Okay. All right. How to make $1,000 to $10,000 a month as a DNA agency owner. It's definitely possible. It can definitely happen. Okay. So here is presentation. So who am I? My name is Royal Banks. I'm the co-owner of Assurance DNA. So that's my company, a nationwide paternity testing service. Right now, we're in El Paso, Texas. So this is me and my wife. Picture of me and my wife together. We own the business together. And I'm also the founder of Paternity University. So it's a course that'll teach you how to start your own DNA paternity testing service wherever you are. Okay. I simplified the whole process, put all the information together for you. All right. So what's your why? What's your why? Why do you want to get into this business? You can type it in the chat if you're on Zoom or YouTube. Type it into the chat. Why do you want to get into this business? And then what will you do with an extra $1,000 to even $10,000 a month in the DNA testing business? I'd like to hear that. I see I got a Richard in here, DT, and then Daisy as well is in here. What's your why? I'd love to see y'all's responses. Want to be your own boss. Daisy says she wants to be her own boss. I love it. Love it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want to be your own boss. Yeah, 100%. You want to have your own time back. You want to be able to go enjoy yourself wherever you are. DT says more freedom to move around. Yeah, absolutely. Freedom. Ultimately, success, in my opinion, is time freedom. Get your time back, to yourself. Yeah, that's exactly it. So, it can be done. Yeah, more family time. Daisy says more family time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you're not. I'm not downing 9 to 5s because I still work a 9 to 5. This is a business that I run on the side, but it's definitely possible to do both. But yes, at some point in time, I want to be free from that 9 to 5 and to build, continue to build this business and have more time to myself. Okay, great, awesome. So why the paternity testing business? Why paternity testing? Is it all dramatic like Maury and paternity court? But why? Why the paternity testing business? Well, paternity tests are always needed. Paternity tests are always needed. They'll never go away. They won't. People are always making children, and questions are always going to be, not for every single person, but in general, people are always going to have questions about whether that child is theirs or that's their father, or if that man is the father of that child. It's always needed. It'll never go away as long as people exist. And it's not hard to stand out from the competition. I'll discuss that in the next few slides. But when you start your own DNA agency, it's not hard to stand out from the competition. Okay. It's scalable. It is scalable. That means you can build the business and you can grow it. And you don't have to have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in, private equity or venture capital or anything like that. You don't need that. You can scale it. You start with a shoestring budget of building your own business, and then you can grow it. It's definitely possible. You can make, this is a big one right here. You can make $200 to $1,800 per test. It's possible. Yes. I made $420 this morning from a DNA test. And I don't even see the client. The client is going to test in a couple of hours, and I just coordinated the whole test. Okay. Just coordinated the whole thing. And I will discuss that a little bit in the rest of these slides. And then in the course, of course, I talk about that. And then you can run your business from anywhere. You don't have to be in the city that you're in to run it. You don't have to. No, you can. Yeah, but you don't have to. I did a paternity test when I was on my honeymoon in the Bahamas. I didn't have to fly back to Texas or fly to New Jersey to make that happen. No, I just did the test. Is the $1,800 after? No, that's revenue. That's revenue. So after fees, it'll be about $500. But that is you essentially sending an email and mail. You're not even seeing, for that specific test, you're not even seeing that individual. Okay. So good question, DT. That's revenue. Okay, so what is DNA paternity testing? So paternity testing, it determines a relationship between an alleged father and a child. So paternity, paternal, that is the root word for father, okay? Paternity testing. And then there's other types of relationship testing, like grandparent testing, siblingship, or avuncular. The word uncle is in avuncular. You can test an aunt or an uncle as well to determine a relationship through an alleged father. If the alleged father is deceased or not available to test or doesn't want to test, okay? That's paternity testing. So you have your when you think of when people think of DNA testing, people normally think of ancestry.com or 23andMe. That's like genealogical history testing. And you can find who your relatives are in that, but that's more so of where do I come from? Where do my ancestors come from? That's what that is. But paternity relationship testing is determining who a father is. All right. So here's a fact, and I've seen it kind of on my own, doing my own DNA testing. But 1 in 3 men who get a paternity test are not the father. 1 in 3 men who get a paternity test, that's the source right there. 30% of men who get a paternity test are not the father. Okay, think about that. I've seen it in my experience. I would say it's about 1 in 4. 1 in 4. And more than half the time, they kind of expect that anyway. But that's generally what that is. 1 in 3 men who get a paternity test are not the father. So, you're essentially helping to provide those answers. That's what you're doing. Okay, why do people get DNA tests? Why do people get paternity tests? There's reasons why. There's 2 reasons why. 2 reasons why. One is peace of mind, and the other is legal reasons. And legal reasons also provide peace of mind too, because you provide the answer, but there's 2 reasons. So peace of mind is they just want to know. They just want to know. They don't want to use the results for any legal or court purposes, because in certain states, or in most states, if you are an unmarried man and you have a child with a woman, you either can sign something called a voluntary acknowledgement of paternity at the hospital after the baby's born and say, yep, I'm the father. I'm the father. And you signing that paperwork and getting on that birth certificate means that you are the legal father of that child, meaning that you are now legally responsible for raising that child. That's the most basic form of establishing paternity. Okay. The other ways to do it is if you have any doubts, or the man has any doubts, or even the woman has doubts, you can get a paternity test. And that paternity test can determine legally if you are the father. It'll show if there's a biological relationship, and you can use those results for legal purposes, such as child custody, child support, inheritance, immigration, social security benefits. You can use it for any type of legal purpose. So there's 2 different types of tests that you can offer: informational or peace of mind, and legal or chain of custody testing. People use them for legal reasons. Okay. Has anybody ever known somebody that has dealt with that before, like paternity testing for legal reasons? Or has anybody ever known, like anybody had a relative or a cousin or a friend that dealt with a paternity issue? Looks like Keith, you raised your hand. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it happens more often than not. Just a little history. My mom, she's owned a paternity testing company for 20 years, and the reason why she got into the business is because her brother dealt with something, a paternity related issue. And it's a real thing, when with certain states, once you sign that birth certificate and sign that voluntary acknowledgement of paternity, that's it. You're the legal father. And it's very hard to change that. Oh, Keith. Wow, Keith. Yeah. You said you had to go through the process yourself. Yeah. It's difficult. It's difficult. And to try to change things up or try to get your name off the birth certificate, a paternity test is the basic level thing to do. That's the basic level thing to do, is to get a paternity test, and then you have to go through the court, and it's the whole situation. And I'm not a lawyer, by the way. I'll preface that. I'm not a lawyer. I just own the DNA agency. All right. So that's the reason why people get them. That's the reason why people get them. Okay. So this webinar and this course is about being a DNA agency owner. That's what that is. But you can also be a collector, a DNA collector. And what's the difference between the two? So an agency owner is somebody who you own your own DNA testing business. Now, you're not a laboratory. You don't have to buy millions of dollars worth of laboratory equipment or hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of laboratory equipment and get a building and get accredited and all that. You don't have to do that. You're just the middleman. You're the individual between the client who needs a test and the laboratory. Okay. You actually do the swabbing, or you outsource the swabbing. You send it to the lab test it, lab charges you a fee. You give the results to the client. That's what you are. Okay. That's an agency owner. Now, a collector is somebody who works with an agency or works for a DNA agency. And the DNA agency says, hey, I got a test for you. It's at this date at this time with this individual. They're going to come in the office. You're going to swab them and you send off the results. And I'll pay you $25 or $50 or $100. That's what a collector is. They kind of work for or work with people. They're waiting for somebody to contact them to do a paternity test or to collect DNA for a paternity test. They're waiting. DNA agency owners, we go seek it out. We advertise. We get our name out there. That's what DNA agency owner. You're the business owner. A collector, in a way, is like an independent contractor. Okay, so that's the difference. And I know I have an ebook about being a collector. That's a collector. If you want to do that, that's fine. That's good for someone who doesn't really want to start a full business yet, and you just want to get exposed to the industry. That's cool. That's fine. But if you want to be an agency owner, that's for you. You're owning your business. You're owning everything, and there's no limit on your business income. Laboratories don't contact you and say, hey, you're doing way too many DNA tests, and you're paying us way too much money to run the samples, so you need to stop. No, there's no limit. You can earn $1,000 a month if you want. If you're halfway trying, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. I had a $10,000 month last month. It's definitely possible. Okay. So what do you need to start a DNA agency? What do you need? The basic things you need to actually start and get going is a name. To start, a name. Okay. I'm drinking my tea here. A name. So pick something, preferably something easily findable, easily Googleable. Okay. You can name it. What I name my company Assurance DNA. That's my brand. That's fine. I got a couple of the students, Clarity DNA, Big Easy DNA, Peace of Mind DNA Services. That's fine. That's cool. Or you could have something like I have here, Austin Paternity Testing Services, the Dallas Paternity Testing Service. Greater Lakes DNA testing, whatever you just pick a name. You don't have to rack your brain on it and, hire a branding agency to do it. Just pick something easy. Okay. All right. You want to incorporate your business. So check with your state Secretary of State website for more information on that. I'm not going to tell you to get an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp, or if you want to just do, sole proprietor, whatever, that's your choice, but incorporate your business, set up a different business entity from yourself. All right. Get your EIN, your employer identification number. That's your business's social security number, essentially. Get that from the IRS.gov website, and then set up your business bank account. That's like just setting up your entity. Okay. That's that part. All right. Now, if you have any questions about taxes and stuff like that, please contact an attorney on that. I will not give you advice on that. Okay. Now, what else do you need? Buy your domain name. Buy your website name. What is it going to be? Is it going to be SacramentoPaternityTesting.com? Something? Buy that. Buy it. You got GoDaddy, you got Squarespace, you got Google Sites, you got all types of places where you can buy your domain name. Okay. Buy your domain name. Set up your professional email. So you don't want to be, Richard Rimbert at DNAtestinggmail.com. No, you want to be whatever your company name is at, or you want to be, like I said, service at so-and-so DNAtesting.com, or, info at so-and-so testing.com. That's your professional email. You can do that through G Suite, Google G Suite. Okay. Or you can do that through Squarespace as well. I do that through Squarespace. Set up your Google Voice or a separate business phone line. You want to be professional. You don't want to have your personal phone be your DNA testing phone too, because you don't know who's going to be calling you, and you don't want to answer like, hello, what's up? No, you want to know when people are calling specifically for DNA testing. So you want to have a separate line, either Google Voice or, and you download the app on your phone, and when people call Google Voice, it opens up that app, or a completely separate business phone line or a separate personal phone line or something like that, right? You call, when people call that phone number, another phone rings. I have a separate phone, and I know for a fact they're calling for DNA testing. Okay. Now, do your research on the labs to partner with. That's all in the course. Oh, and what labs there are available to partner with. Okay. You're going to contact that lab and apply to be a distributor or a reseller. That's in the course on how to do that. And then you're going to sign the lab partnership contract if they offer a contract. Okay. All that's in the course. I put all that information in there. It's really good. And we've had students that, get their partnerships within a week or two. Okay. Get your logo from Fiverr. Hey, look, I say this all the time. Don't wait 8 months, 9, 10, 12 months trying to do a logo. It's not that serious. It's not. I mean, logo's cool. It's part of your branding, but it's not something that takes that long. It's a couple of days. Get a logo, and make it happen. Okay. This is really important. Set up your Google My Business account. So Google My Business is whenever you Google stuff, whenever you are looking at stuff on Google, restaurant near me, or Mexican restaurant near me, or whatever on Google, you see those the little red pinpoints that pop up on your Google, on like either Google Maps or your Google search. That's what Google My Business, those businesses are on Google My Business, okay, or Google Business Profile, whatever it's called now, okay? That's critically important because people really generally aren't looking for DNA testing or paternity testing services on Facebook or Instagram. They're not really looking for that stuff there. They're looking on Google or any other search engine. That's what they're looking at. Okay. So you want to be there. You want to get in front of them. Google My Business or Google Business page is how you get on Google as a business. And it's a way, it's an art and a science to it. Google's pretty temperamental of getting people verified and getting their business verified, but it can be done. And that's how you do it. I've had a student who was working on setting up her Google My Business profile. I got her business set up, everything, like website, all that stuff. You have all that stuff set up, that's great, but it's going to be hard for people to find you unless you're on Google. The day she got on Google was the day she got a phone call. People, they just Google paternity testing near me, and whatever pulls up first or whatever something, they pull you up, they see your phone, they call you. That's it. That's how it is. It's really not that difficult. All right. So you want to get that set up. Your ads account too. You set up a Google Ads account, link it to your Google My Business, and that's how you push out ads, and that's how you supercharge and really get your business to the top of the Google page. And then for payments, set up your Square, Stripe, or QuickBooks account. I personally, I don't like PayPal like that because PayPal likes to freeze people's funds. So I personally don't like that. I love Square appointments. It's great. Okay. But you want to set up how are you going to get paid? How are you going to pay? How are you going to send invoices? Square, Stripe, QuickBooks. You can do that all in there. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions while I go through this? Am I going too fast? Nope. No questions, Daisy. Okay, cool. Okay, Keith, you're taking away to the end. Okay, got it. I'm almost done. Okay. So researching the competition. There's other DNA testing companies in your city. All right, wherever you decide to start. There's other ones. Yes, there are, but they're not going to do as well as you are. All right. You're gonna outperform them. And here's how. Here's how you do your market research. Call them up. Search paternity testing service near me on Google. Paternity testing, DNA testing, right? Call them up. Do they answer the phone? Start off with, do they answer? All right. What tone did they use when they spoke to you? Was it, thanks for calling the Shares DNA. This is Royal speaking. How may I help you? Or was it, hello? How professional were they? How many Google reviews do they have? Or Yelp or whatever, Bing, whatever. How many reviews do they have? How many stars do they have? Do they have written reviews? Do they offer mobile services? Ask them, hey, do y'all have a collector? I really don't like going into offices or anything like that. Do y'all have a collector that y'all can send me? Or do y'all only have a building that I can go to? Just ask. Some places offer mobile services. Some places don't. Are they open on weekends? I would say most DNA testing companies are closed on the weekends. So you can beat a lot of them just by being open on Saturday, or being open on Saturday, or at least answering the phone on Saturday to set up a test for them on Monday. At the very least, you can still do testing on. I've done testing, a mobile test in a FedEx parking lot. 2 tests back to back make $700 in 30 minutes. Doing a mobile weekend test because nobody else is open. All right. Got to ask, what lab are they using? Is the lab AABB accredited? That's a big one too. Ask them, hey, I want to use these results for legal purposes. So is the lab that is going to test the samples, are y'all an accredited American Association of Blood Banks lab? They're going to be like, oh my, who is this guy or a woman calling me? Damn. Okay. What are their prices? What are their prices? You want to ask that too. What are their prices? How much? Excuse me. My name is John. I'm calling because, oh man, I need a DNA test. I just need one. It's for me and the kid. Just one of just me and the kid. That's all. Okay, sir. Well, the price is going to be $395 plus tax or something like that. Ask them their prices. The reason why is because every city, every area that you're at, every region, their DNA prices kind of vary. Okay, and I'm going to go into that next slide or so of prices and how much people generally pay for a DNA test. All right, I'm going to go into that in a second. And how fast can they get results? That's another one too. How fast can they get results? Excuse me, how long is it going to take to get my results? 2 to 3 business days, 4 to 5, 6 to 7. How fast? That's all stuff you want to write down and figure out how you're gonna compete with that. All right. If they suck, it's easy. If they're really, really good, now a lot of them are really, really good, you're gonna have a little bit more of it's gonna be more of a challenge, but it won't be impossible. All right. Okay, money. Here you go. The money. This is it. This is what y'all dialed in for. How to make $1,000 to $10,000 a month. All right. How much can I charge for a DNA test? It depends on the service you're offering in your area. Now, with the lab that I'm partnered with, I can offer all these different types of paternity tests. This is it right here, all the relationship tests. And there's a few more. These are different sources of income within your DNA testing business. Okay. So a standard legal paternity test, like I said, the ones that people can use for court purposes. All right. That's between $300 to $500. All right. Informational. That's just a kit that they either pick up from you or you send to them in the mail. That's for them just wanting to know. That's $200, $250. Now, has anybody ever gone to CVS or Walgreens and seen a paternity testing kit in CVS or Walgreens? Let me know. No, you haven't. Okay, Dave. Okay, got it. Let me know. You can go, somebody can go into Walgreens or CVS and go get a paternity test for like $20. But what happens is when they submit the samples and send it in, the lab will say, okay, in order to access your results, you have to pay a fee of $200. Right? So you might as well just charge the person you might as well just charge them all that money up front. Just like, hey, there's no hidden fees. So it's $200 or $250, whatever. Okay. Non-invasive prenatal. Non-invasive prenatal. What is that? What is non-invasive? And why is it so? Why do you charge that much for that, Royal? Well, a non-invasive prenatal paternity test is when a woman is pregnant and wants to find out who the father is. When a woman is pregnant and wants to find out who the father is, and it's non-invasive because the invasive version, amniocentesis or chorionic villus sampling, they normally do that. OBGYNs normally do that when they want to test to see if a child may have birth defects or Down syndrome. So they don't normally do invasive specifically for paternity testing, but they can. Okay, so invasive is when an OBGYN will stick a thick gauge needle into the woman's navel to collect amniotic fluid, or a catheter into the cervix to get DNA samples from there as well, from the placenta. Okay, that's the invasive method, and a lot of people, is cheaper. Yeah, it's a little bit cheaper to do, a little bit, But a lot of people they don't like the idea of that. That doesn't sound very comfortable. So the non-invasive prenatal is just a blood draw from the mom's arm, two tubes of blood, depending on what lab, 2 tubes or 10 tubes of blood from the mother's arm, and a mouth swab from the alleged father. And it costs that much because the lab charges you a little bit of a higher fee because it's a more advanced process to separate fetal DNA from the mother's DNA from her blood. So it takes a little bit longer, about 3 to 7 business days or so, or 21 business days, depending on what lab you're using. And it just costs a little bit more. So you charge $1,200 to $1,800 for that. And the lab would charge you between $850 and $1,200 for that. So you do the math on that. All right. You can average between $400 to $500-ish dollars. Okay. For that test. And that I go into the course. I have a whole module on how to do a non-invasive prenatal because you're not going to do it. You coordinate that, but that's in the course. Okay. Siblingship. People want to sometimes find out if they're related through their father, through an alleged father, or the father might not be available or deceased, but there were 2 kids from him allegedly. So they test each other. Okay. Test each other to determine if there is a common, paternal relationship between the 2. Grandparentage, same thing. Dad's not available or unwilling to test or deceased. You can test the grandparents on his side, see if there's a relationship. Deceased. I'm working on a deceased case right now where an individual is deceased. His mom wants to test to see if his father is his father, but his father's not available. So I'm testing the grandparents. And I am not, taking samples from a deceased individual. I'm just coordinating with the county coroner's office, and they're working on sending it's called an FTA card or a blood sample to the laboratory for testing, and I coordinate the other half of it. Okay, that's what that is. You normally won't be swabbing or taking samples from deceased individuals unless you choose to, unless they're recently deceased. So infidelity testing and discrete testing. That's people test for is my person there's a semen sample here. I want to test to see if that semen sample belongs to me. Okay. And discrete testing. People test hair and nails too. Those are all the different ways you can make money in the DNA testing business. Okay. There's plenty, and there's like twin zygosity, and you could do ancestry tests as well. I honestly don't try to compete with Ancestry and 23andMe. I don't, but I can offer ancestry tests as well. This is definitely possible. Okay. All right, here's some testimonials. Here are some testimonials from some of my students. This is from the private Slack channel. So the dope thing about Paternity University is that we have a private Slack channel, and we have students there that talk about their wins. Okay. So Adonis, he was the first Paternity University student. Great. It says today has ended, and I did 2 appointments, which is $800 booked from the other day. Okay. So his folks book and they pay at the test, $800. Okay. In one day. And then he booked 1 prenatal for Saturday and another avuncular test for tomorrow. So this was a couple of weeks ago. I think he ended up doing a little under $5,000 for the month of December to 2021. And then for the first week of January, he did $4,800 in 1 week. In sales. All right. 3 prenatals and a regular paternity test. Definitely possible. Jaquaria, another superstar student. All right. Set her business up, took massive action, followed the blueprint, asked me a bunch of questions, which I do not mind at all. I don't mind people asking me questions. And she got her first client. It took me, for my first legal DNA test, for my first court admissible, it took me 5 months to do that. To get my first court admissible paternity test. 5 months. It took her 3 weeks because the course outlines everything, all my mistakes. It's in there. You see, okay, this is what not to do, this is what to do, this is what not to do. Okay. So she made $350. Okay. From her first test. So you know, these are real people in the course. So here's the most important aspect of starting this business: take action, take action, take action, take action. You know, take action. Of course, you know, there's other aspects too, is empathy, confidentiality. Those things definitely matter for sure. Emotional intelligence, because you'll be dealing with people sometimes who some of the worst moments of their lives are very stressful moments. You know, trust has been broken. But if you want to start this business, taking action is extremely important. You have to take action. You can't sit on the information for 8 months and expect something to happen. No, you got to take action. It's really not that difficult. It's not. It's really not. It takes less than $500 to start a DNA testing company. Honestly, it really doesn't take that much money. Heck, the labs, they send you the DNA testing kits for free up front. They don't charge you up front for them. So you're not paying a bunch of money up front for a box of DNA testing kit. They send it to you. They charge you on the back end when you send the samples in. Okay. It doesn't take that much to start it. Less than $500, probably less than 400, you know, depending on how much it is for an LLC in your state or whatever. All right. So questions. Ask me all the questions you want. All the questions you want. Feel free to ask them in the YouTube chat. Feel free to ask them in the Zoom chat. Questions. Let's go. Let's do it. Did I start in California? No. I started my business in Georgia, and since I'm military, I moved all over the place. So I am now in Texas. Where did my mom have? In Georgia, in Atlanta. That's where she has her business. She still operates it. Yeah, she still operates it. Yep. My LLC is in Texas. I'm a foreign entity in Texas. So, you know, certain states, like I said, please speak to an attorney, but when you move around and operate businesses different, you have to register as a foreign entity. So I started my LLC in Georgia. Where, if any, is there a saturated market? There is a lot of DNA testing companies in Houston, and there's a good amount in Atlanta. But I will say this: just because there are a lot of DNA testing companies doesn't mean that they're good. And like I said, you set yourself apart, because yeah, there may be 10 in Dallas, but all 10 don't answer their phone all the time, or all 10 are not open on weekends. All 10 don't offer mobile services. You know, you just set yourself apart. You know, we have students all over the place, and they're getting some of their first clients. It's really just being professional. And then aside from that, Keith, that's a good question, is, yeah, there may be some saturated markets, but some markets outside of those saturated markets are not catered to at all. So if you push out a little bit further, like you advertise a little bit further out in those markets, you know, if you're in a main city like Houston, so if you're in Atlanta, if you push out a little bit further, then you may be able to get clients. But like I said, there are 2 million, 3 million people in the greater Atlanta metro area. 2 million people. You know, not every single DNA testing company is getting every single one of those people. Yeah, that's fine. Outside perimeter. Yeah, so that's okay. That's fine. If you're in the greater Atlanta metro area, there's 3 million people there. You know, do 1,000 DNA tests a year. You know, you can make on average probably about $500,000. Okay. So Keith, you're asking, can you share your marketing budget or range? Yeah. So right now, my marketing budget right now, I pay $375 a month for bus stop bench ads. That's just raising awareness. I have a marketing campaign specifically for prenatal testing going for $750 a month. Okay. And I have another ad campaign for $300 a month. So what's that, about $1,300 right now? That's just me though. All right. Now, a couple of our students haven't even started marketing at all, or have barely. They're doing $300 a month on Google ads right now, and they're making, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So it's a pretty good return on ad spend if you think about it. A couple of them don't even market at all. It's because they're in a certain area where they're just not really DNA testing companies, and they just automatically get the searches. You know, it just depends. What's the difference? DT says, what's the difference between a $1,000 student and a $10,000 student? Um, how much action they take, like what they they take. Do they take this business serious? This is not something that you just set it and forget it, and it's just a completely passive business when you just start it. No, like what's your processes? How do you get in front of people? Who do you have answering the phone? Can you answer phone calls? That's a big thing right there. That's a big difference right there. How serious are you taking this business? How serious are you taking this business? And is 10 paternity testing businesses in a major city saturated? Like I said, 10 of them, all 10 of them may not answer the phone all the time. All 10 of them may not be mobile. All 10 of them may not be open on weekends. That's how you set yourself apart. So that's what you do. So what's your advice for people in California? I have a student in California. That's the one who got her first $350 DNA test the other day. So it's just start and go. Start and go. Now, New York City is weird. New York State is the only state in the country where an individual needs, if they want to get a paternity test, they have to get a doctor's note. And New York State doesn't allow for companies to sell informational paternity testing kits within the boundaries of that state. So do with that information as you will. All right. Do you need or when do you need an office? So what I do is I have like a virtual office, and I rent an office space whenever I need to do a paternity test. Like if somebody wants to come to the office and do a paternity test in person, then I will rent a space for an hour and it's $24. So I don't have a month to month. That's how I keep my expenses low. And that's how I can divert those expenses to advertising, is I don't really need an office. You can rent a co-working space if you want to. That's fine. So that's how, you said, gotcha. I would have or will do the same. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to get an office. You don't need to. Especially if you're outsourcing a lot of tests, you outsource that stuff and they go somewhere else to do the test. It's fine. Like I said, I outsourced a test from my bed this morning and made $400. I'll send an email, answer the phone call, send an email, and call the coordination, the collection facility, and I did that from my bed and made $400. All right. Great. Any other questions? Yeah, can I send the link for the course? Yeah, it's paternityuniversity.com. I'm gonna put it in the Zoom real quick. paternityuniversity.com. This is in the Zoom right there. Boom. paternityuniversity.com. So the course is $97. Look, once you get the course, you get access to the Slack channel. You got a bunch of other people that have either went ahead and started their DNA testing agencies and got their first client, or they're in the process of setting everything up. We cheer each other on. We help each other out. I'm always in there. I answer questions all the time. You can direct message me. You can ask any question you want. Just holler at me. I got you. And then you got other students in there. Like I said, Adonis, Jaquaria, a couple other students in there that have setting their stuff up and they're starting to get their first clients all over the country. So Paternity University, I'll put that in the show in the YouTube channel show notes as well. paternityuniversity.com. Solid investment, $97, but you get your first DNA test, you're gonna like 3 to 4x that automatically. Can I plug HiveMind? Yeah. I know HiveMind. I know the guys at HiveMind. Yeah. They do websites, all that stuff. Yeah, they do. They have a whole CRM and everything. HiveMind's pretty cool. Yeah, check out the HiveMind guys if you guys haven't already. Shout out to them for sure. Okay, cool. Does anybody else have any other questions before I end it? I appreciate y'all, coming on to the webinar. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. Thank you. This was awesome. I love talking about this stuff and teaching this stuff on webinars, man. It means a lot to me for you guys to dial in. You'll be hearing from me. Okay, cool. Yeah, looking forward to it, Keith. Looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. Okay. If I don't get any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and I go over how to market DT. I do. Yes. And I am military, Keith. I am. I'm a full-time Army officer. So yes, I am military. So you know how it is about SOPs and all that stuff. I transfer all that stuff to my business, and that's why, I've been doing pretty well. Staff sergeant. All right, E6, man. All right, Sergeant. Thank you for your service. Appreciate that. And yeah, and you can do this business in the Army. Thank you, DT. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment. Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Thank you, Daisy. I appreciate it. Thank you. I try to be a good speaker. If I don't get any other questions for the next couple of seconds, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Paternityuniversity.com. Paternityuniversity.com is where you can get it. Get in that Slack channel. We got all types of folks in there to talk to you, to help you out. I'm here. I'm always there. I monitor the whole chat all the time. You can DM me, ask me any question you want. Okay. All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Y'all have a phenomenal day.